let's be real for a sec, okay? Who hasn't spent their fair share of time digging into a self-help book or five, hoping for that, like, magic life upgrade?
It's true.
But it's like sometimes the more advice you get, the more you're just like, wait, what was I even trying to fix?
Right.
So when you guys suggested a deep dive on Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck, I knew we were in for something else.
Yeah.
Just the title alone, throws all the, like, typical self-help stuff right out the window.
Really does.
But he's onto something, though, right? I mean, Manson's not just trying to be edgy. He's pointing to this weird paradox we're all kind of stuck in.
What's interesting is he starts off by saying, life is a struggle. Like we try to act like it's not, all that Instagram perfection.
Oh, 100%. And on top of that, we've got choices coming out of our ears these days.
It really is a lot.
Careers, relationships, even what news we're supposed to read. It's like, I don't know, standing in the cereal aisle.
Yeah.
Just a million boxes and you're frozen.
Exactly. And it should be empowering, right? All this choice. But he calls it the paradox of choice because often we end up feeling just totally stuck and unhappy.
Because then it's like, did I even pick the right cereal? Everyone on Instagram seems to be loving this brand.
You think you're supposed to feel happy if you make all the right choices?
Yeah.
But then if you don't, then what?
Exactly. And that's where I think the whole not giving a feck thing comes in, right? Not like actually being careless.
Oh, no, definitely not.
But being more, I don't know, deliberate.
Strategic. That's the word he uses. It's about figuring out what really matters, and then the rest can just kind of...
Not matter.
Easier said than done, though.
It really... So how do we even start with that?
Well, he says we can't escape struggle, right? Life is going to have it no matter what.
Always something.
So we have to decide which struggles we're actually down for. Choose our battles, basically.
Okay, so, like, picture this. Someone who always wanted to be a CEO. Sounds kind of glamorous, yeah?
Yeah.
But are they ready for the 60-hour weeks, tough calls all the time, the constant hustle?
That's a good point.
Or maybe they are actually cut out for it, but their real passion is, like, pottery. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But they're so busy with the CEO thing because that's what they think success looks like.
And it's about aligning your efforts with your actual values, not some idea of what you should be doing. There's actually a lot of research on this.
Right.
In positive psychology, they've found when we're doing stuff that's challenging but also really lights us up, they call them flow states, it actually makes us way happier.
So it's not just about picking MOI struggle. It's got to have that extra thing that makes you want to stick with it even when it's hard.
Yeah, passion.
It's funny, Manson himself is a great example of this. He talks about how his blog, the dating advice one, it didn't just blow up overnight. He struggled with it at first, but he was so passionate about it that he kept going, put in the work, and, well, here we are talking about his book.
That's amazing.
So before we go any further with this, everyone listening, think for a minute. What are you down to struggle for? What makes those challenges worth it, not just something you got to get through?
It's a big question.
It is. It is. Now, Manson doesn't just leave us hanging with the struggle talk. He goes on to explain how this obsession we have with success, other people's success especially, can make us miserable.
It's so true.
And here's where it gets really interesting. He compares these two musicians, Dave Mustaine, the guitarist from Megadeth, huge metal fan, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. But anyway. And then Pete Best, the drummer who got kicked out of, wait for it, the Beatles.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So our brains are wired to compare, right? It's like this primal thing, looking for differences, potential threats.
Right, like who's got more berries than me?
Exactly. Except now it's like keeping up with the Joneses, but those Joneses are just like curated Instagram feeds.
Oh, for sure. So easy to get caught up in that.
But back to Mustaine, for those who don't know, he was actually Metallica's first lead guitarist.
No way.
But get this, they kicked him out right before they, became Metallica.
Oh, man.
Now, to his credit, he formed Megadeth, which... huge, right?
Wow.
Millions of albums, touring the world, the whole deal. But he could never get over getting booted from Metallica.
Seriously?
Even with all that success, he's always comparing, measuring himself against them.
That's got to be tough no matter how much you achieve. There's always going to be someone who seems like they've got it better.
Right. That's Manson's whole point. You can get what everyone considers massive success, but if your values are messed up, you won't enjoy it.
Wow.
It's like you're always using the wrong measuring stick. But then you've got Pete Best, right? Talk about a tough break. Drumming for the Beatles, about to be huge E. They replace him with Ringo Starr.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine? I mean, talk about a tough break, right? But here's the thing.
Pete Best's story, though, it shows how we don't have to let a setback, even a huge one, like ruin us.
Oh, absolutely. Could have been totally bitter, right? The what if guy, always stuck on what could have been.
Right. But he had this whole perspective shift. Family, finding happiness on his own terms, that became more important.
Music was still there, just not the, world famous rock band part.
Yeah,
Ended up living a pretty good life from what I hear. Still plays music, too.
that's awesome.
It really is. Makes you wonder, though, how do you find those good values? The ones that'll actually make us happy, like what he found.
This is where Manson gets really practical, actually.
Okay.
He says a lot of the values we think we're supposed to want, he calls them shitty values. They're just awful in the end.
Shitty values. Classic Manson. Gotta love that. But okay, what kind of values are we talking about?
Well, think about it. Chasing pleasure all the time, caring only about money and stuff or how many people follow you online, things like that.
Oh, okay, I see.
He's saying those things might feel good for a minute, but then you're just empty, always wanting more.
It's like, what's that saying? Money can't buy happiness. But it's so easy to fall for that, especially these days, right? Everything's telling us we need more to be happy.
And Manson's saying true happiness, like real fulfillment, it's got to come from something deeper, something that lasts.
Okay, so how do we figure out what those good values are for us? Does he have like a list or something?
Kinda. 3 things to look for, he calls them good, healthy values.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so first, got to be based in reality, actually doable.
Makes sense.
Second, has to be helpful somehow, like it benefits other people or makes the world a tiny bit better.
I like that. Not just about us.
And then this is the big one. It's got to be something you can actually control, like your actions, the choices you make right now.
Oh, that's good. It's like not some vague idea of being good, but like, what are you actually doing about it?
Exactly. Choosing what you give a fuck about.
So actions speak louder than words, basically.
He uses honesty as an example. You can control if you're being truthful, right?
Yeah.
And that helps other people too.
Makes sense. So it's got to be something you're living, not just talking about.
Exactly. And this reminds me of this story he tells about his friend's brother was being a total jerk about the sister's fiance.
Oh, man, been there. Not the jerk brother, hopefully, but definitely that whole family drama.
Well, this brother, no matter what, thought this guy was all wrong for his sister.
Oh, no.
Judd Gordy wouldn't budge. Kind of mean about it, actually.
Yeah.
But Manson uses this to make a really important point.
Which is?
We got to be willing to admit when we're wrong, even if it's hard.
Dude, you're talking about, ego death here. That is not easy.
No, it's way easier to just be right, even when we're not. We all do it.
All the time.
But Manson's saying we got to get comfy with questioning what we think is true,
Yeah.
even when it's scary.
Yeah, but how do you actually do that? My brain is very attached to being right, let me tell you.
Well, he gets a lot of this from Buddhist philosophy. It's actually pretty cool.
Okay, hold on. Buddhism. Now we're really deep diving.
Right, but it fits. Buddhism teaches that this whole idea of ourself is kind of an illusion.
Whoa, okay.
Like, we get so stuck on labels, right? I'm a lawyer, I'm a good person, whatever, that we forget it's all just in our heads.
So if we're not so worried about those labels, it's easier to say, oh, maybe I was wrong, because our whole identity isn't riding on it.
Exactly. It's about detaching from the outcome, being more curious.
Yeah.
And that actually goes back to choosing our struggles.
Wait, how so?
If we're obsessed with being successful or right all the time, then messing up, it feels like the end of the world.
Because then you're not a success anymore.
Right. But if we can let go of that a little, be more okay with things changing like Buddhism teaches, then failing, it's not so scary.
We can actually learn from it.
Exactly. And that helps us grow more in the end.
It's like taking off a weight. You don't have to be right all the time because, let's be real, none of us are. But we're talking about death, legacy, big picture stuff here. Kind of heavy for a book about not giving a fuck, right? Where does he even go from here? So we left off talking about how, I don't know, clinging to those labels we put on ourselves can really mess us up.
That's where a lot of our unhappiness comes from, Manson says. Because we're clinging to this idea of ourselves, our achievements, even our stuff.
When really everything is always changing.
Exactly. Nothing stays the same, no matter how hard we try.
It's like, I don't know if you've heard this one, but there's that quote, no man ever steps in the same river twice.
Ooh, I like that.
For it's not the same river and he's not the same man.
It's so true. And when we fight against that, that's when we get anxious, unhappy.
So with this whole not giving a fuck thing, are we just supposed to, detach from everything?
No, it's not about not caring about anything. It's more about, how do I put it, choosing what you care about.
Like being picky with your battles. Not just external stuff, but also what's going on in our own heads.
Exactly. Because think about it. If we're always worried about things we can't control,
Other people's drama, the past, the future.
all of that, it sucks the energy out of us, you know? We can't enjoy what's right in front of us.
And that's all we really have, right? This moment.
That's what Manson's saying. And this is where it gets kind of hopeful, actually. If we accept that nothing lasts forever,
Our achievements, our stuff, even us eventually.
then it's like, okay, what can I enjoy right now? Where can I find meaning today?
Not once I achieve X or when I finally have Y.
It's about appreciating what's already good, not always chasing something else.
Because there's always going to be another something else, right? Never-ending cycle.
Exactly. So we got to take responsibility for our own happiness. Nobody else can give that to us, no matter what Instagram says.
So we get to decide what makes us happy and then actually go after it, even when it's hard.
Especially when it's hard. That's how you know it really matters.
It's funny, for a book with such a, intense title.
A little bit in your face, yeah.
And totally. But it's actually pretty positive when you get down to it. It's not about giving up. It's about caring about the right things.
And having the guts to figure out what those things are for you.
Love that. So for anyone listening who's feeling that pressure to do more, be more, have more.
It's a lot.
It really is. Maybe try asking, what can I let go of? What actually matters to me, not just what I'm supposed to care about.
Might just change everything.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we've done our deep dive on the subtle art of not giving a feck for now.
It's been real.
We covered some ground, right? Struggle, success, a little bit of Buddhism thrown in there.
Yeah.
But now it's over to you guys listening. What are you going to give a feck about?